He stole $200,000 and jumped. The perfect crime. Introduction. Imagine you are sitting on a plane. The man next to you is wearing a nice suit. He is wearing sunglasses. He orders a drink. He is polite and calm. You think he is just a normal businessman going home for the holidays. But you are wrong. In his bag, there is a bomb. In his pocket, there is a note demanding $200,000. And in a few hours, he will open the door of the plane and jump into the freezing darkness, never to be seen again. This is the true story of D.B. Cooper. It happened in 1971. It is the only unsolved skyjacking in the history of commercial aviation. Skyjacking, or hijacking. Taking control of a plane by force. Who was he? Did he survive the fall? Where is the money? For 50 years, the FBI has tried to answer these questions. They failed. In this video, we will investigate the perfect crime. We will look at the clues, the escape, and the theories. We will learn the vocabulary of crime, mystery, and aviation. Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Chapter 1. The Mystery Passenger. The date is November 24th, 1971. It is the day before Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is a huge holiday in the USA. Airports are crowded. Everyone is rushing to see their families. At Portland International Airport, a man walks up to the counter of Northwest Orient Airlines. He is about 40 years old. He is wearing a dark suit, a white shirt, and a black tie. He carries a black briefcase. He buys a one-way ticket to Seattle. The flight is very short, only 30 minutes. He gives his name as Dan Cooper. Later, the media made a mistake and called him D.B. Cooper. And the name stuck. Now, here is something important to understand. In 1971, airports were very different. There were no metal detectors. There were no X-ray machines for bags. You didn't even have to show your ID. You could walk onto a plane with a gun or a bomb, and nobody would know. I talked about modern airport stress in my video, The Mistake That Cost Me My Flight. Back then, there was no stress about security, but there was a much bigger danger: hijackers. Cooper walked onto the plane, Flight 305. He sat in seat 18C. He ordered a bourbon and soda. He lit a cigarette. Yes, you could smoke on planes back then. He looked completely normal. Chapter 2. The Note. The plane took off. Cooper called the flight attendant, or stewardess, a young woman named Florence Schaffner. He handed her a small piece of paper. Florence thought he was just a lonely businessman trying to give her his phone number. She didn't read it. She put it in her pocket. Cooper leaned forward and whispered, "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." Florence froze. She opened the note. It was written in neat capital letters. It said, "I have a bomb in my briefcase. I want you to sit next to me." She sat down. Cooper opened his bag slightly. Inside, she saw red cylinders and wires. It looked like a real bomb. Then he gave his demands. He didn't want political prisoners released. He didn't want to fly to Cuba. He wanted something simple. 1. $200,000 in negotiable American currency, cash. 2. 4 parachutes, 2 main, 2 reserve. 3. A fuel truck ready in Seattle to refuel the plane. Vocabulary check. Ransom. Ransom is the money you pay to a kidnapper or criminal to release people. Cooper was very specific. He wanted $20 bills. Why? Because $20 bills are lighter than $10 bills, but not as suspicious as $100 bills. He thought about everything. Chapter 3. The Gentleman Bandit. Here is the strangest part of the story. Usually criminals are aggressive. They shout. They wave guns. Cooper was a gentleman. He was polite to the crew. He ordered another drink and insisted on paying for it. He even told the flight attendant to keep the change. He wasn't sweating. He wasn't shaking. He was perfectly calm. This kind of calmness under pressure is a superpower. It reminds me of the confidence you need in high-stress situations, like I described in The Job Interview Nightmare. Cooper was essentially doing the most stressful job interview of his life, and he was totally cool. The other passengers on the plane didn't know they were being hijacked. The pilot told them over the speaker, "We have a minor mechanical problem, so we will circle the airport for a while." Cooper didn't want to scare the passengers. He was a professional. In Seattle, the FBI scrambled to get the money. They took photos of the serial numbers on the bills so they could track the money later. They found the parachutes. The plane landed. Cooper allowed the 36 passengers to leave. He kept the money. He kept the parachutes. And he kept 4 crew members as hostages. Chapter 4. The Jump. The plane took off again. Cooper told the pilot to fly to Mexico City. But he gave very strange instructions. Fly very low, under 10,000 feet. Fly very slow, under 200 miles per hour. Leave the landing gear down. Leave the cabin unpressurized. Why? Because you cannot jump out of a jet flying at normal speed and height. You would die instantly from the cold and lack of oxygen. Cooper knew exactly how to configure the plane for a jump. This suggests he had experience with aviation or paratrooping. It was a dark, stormy night. It was raining heavily. Sometime around 8 p.m., somewhere over the forests of Washington State, Cooper did it. He put on the parachute. He tied the bag of money to his waist. He sent the flight attendant to the cockpit, the pilot's room, and locked the door. He was alone in the back of the plane. The Boeing 727 had a special door at the back with stairs that lowered down. Cooper opened the door. The loud wind roared into the cabin. The temperature was -7 degrees Celsius. He stood on the stairs. He looked into the black void, and he jumped. When the plane landed in Reno, Nevada, the police surrounded it. They entered the plane. It was empty. Cooper was gone. Chapter 5. The Manhunt. This started the biggest manhunt in U.S. history. Manhunt, an organized search for a criminal. 1,000 soldiers searched the forest. They looked for the parachute. They looked for the body. They looked for the money. They found nothing. It was as if he vanished into thin air. The FBI interviewed hundreds of suspects. They looked at people who had paratrooping experience. They looked at people with criminal records. But there was a problem. Cooper jumped into a dense forest in the middle of a winter storm. He was wearing a suit and loafers, slip-on shoes. Not boots, not a warm jacket. Many experts said, "He didn't survive. He landed in the trees, broke his legs, and died of hypothermia." But if he died, where was the body? Where was the parachute? For 9 years, there was zero evidence. Chapter 6: The Discovery. Then, in 1980, a breakthrough happened. A young boy named Brian Ingram was having a picnic with his family near the Columbia River. He was digging in the sand to build a fire. He found 3 bundles of rotting, wet money. It was $5,800. The bills were $20 bills. The FBI checked the serial numbers. It was Cooper's money. This proved 2 things. 1, Cooper landed somewhere near this area. 2, he lost at least some of the money. Did he lose the money while falling? Or did he bury it there? Or maybe he died in the river, and the money washed up on the beach years later. Nobody knows. Chapter 7: The Theories. Over the years, many people have claimed to be D.B. Cooper. Some people confessed on their deathbeds, "I am Cooper." But the FBI investigated them all, and none of them fit perfectly. Theory 1: The expert. Some say Cooper was an ex-military paratrooper. He knew too much about the plane and the jump. Theory 2: The amateur. Others say he was stupid. He chose the reserve parachute that was actually sewn shut. It was a dummy parachute for training. If he used that one, he definitely died. Also, jumping into a storm in a suit is suicide. Theory 3: The survivor. The most romantic theory is that he survived. He hiked out of the woods, hid the money, and lived a quiet, normal life. Maybe he was your neighbor. Maybe he was your uncle. In 2016, the FBI officially closed the case. They said, "We need to focus on other crimes. We will never find him." D.B. Cooper 1. Chapter 8: Vocabulary Review. Whether he lived or died, D.B. Cooper left us with a great story and some useful vocabulary. 1. Skyjacking. Hijacking. Taking control of a plane illegally. 2. Ransom, money paid to release hostages. 3. Hostage, a person held prisoner by a criminal. 4. Parachute, the device that lets you float down from the sky. 5. Manhunt, a big search for a person. 6. Evidence, facts or objects that prove something, like the money in the sand. Conclusion: the legend. Why do we love this story? He was a criminal. He threatened to kill people with a bomb. But in American culture, he is seen as a folk hero. He didn't hurt anyone. He was polite. And he beat the system. We like to believe that somewhere, an old man is sitting on a beach, drinking a bourbon and soda, smiling about the night he jumped into history. What do you think happened? Did he survive the fall, or is his skeleton still in the forest? Tell me your theory in the comments below. If you enjoyed this mystery, please hit the like button. And if you want more stories about mysteries and disappearances, subscribe to English Parchment. See you in the next investigation.